Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with James Waters. We are talking movies and the Canton Film Festival coming up April 27th through 29th, coming right to our backyard, right at the Palace Theater. And we left you, I think, on April 28th. So what's happening next?
So we're also going to showcase, we're going to open that night actually up with the documentary category and showcase a couple short films that we've had submitted for that. And then later in the evening, we're going to have the director, Eric Murphy, who made the movie Trafficant, which is which is about the congressman of Crimetown, a.k.a. like the Youngstown area.
Yes.
And it's a very captivating documentary. It's one of the two films I'm probably most excited to see that we're bringing in. So it kind of tells the whole story of like his rise to getting arrested, to getting shot. Eric was able to get like Boo Boo Mancini in to do some interview stuff. Let's see, Ed O'Neill from Married with Children and Modern Family. He's on the documentary, or he's in the documentary discussing, kind of, what Youngstown was like at that time and like what was.
How does he know?
Ed O'Neill.
Yes,
Ed O'Neill grew up in Youngstown.
I did not know that.
So he's an Ohio boy, 100%.
Who knew?
So it definitely goes through the whole legend of Jim Trafficant, and from the Rust Belt to the Tech Belt, and just kind of what's going on in Youngstown today, and just kind of what they're trying to do differently there as well.
Remind us what day that's going to be.
So that's going to be April 28th
at night,
in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
So
is April 28th kind of a documentary day?
Ideally,
Seems like,
yeah. So
okay.
I think we only have one real like kind of narrative film. And that will happen on Saturday as well. Let's see.
Okay, so moving on to the 29th. This sounds fascinating.
It's a fun day. There's not much rest in between, but so we knock it out pretty well. So Saturday is the full day event. We're able to open the doors at 12:30 on Saturday. And that's where we're going to do the first set of submissions, which will probably be the horror movies and the action, sci-fi, and fantasy. And then at 2 p.m. we'll have a small discussion about audio engineering for video production from a Kent State Stark representative. Mm-hmm. They were sponsored for this year's festival, which is nice. So they'll have an opportunity to hopefully talk to some future students or some people that are interested in sound. And then after we come back from that little meeting, we'll have submission block 2, which will be the fictional narrative films and music videos.
Oh, that's always fun.
And then around 4:30, we'll move into this film called The Long Road to the Hall of Fame, which is about two brothers that actually grew up in Alliance, who played football on the same pro team, I believe, in the late 70s. And it was like out of the blue because the executive producer from a company called Slim Jams Records out of Atlanta helped produce this film. And that is, if anybody remembers from the 90s, Public Enemy, which was like a kind of hardcore kind of rap group. But the guy Chuck D that was in Public Enemy on Slim Jam Records that made this film about these two brothers.
Really?
And it's because one of the brothers was the head of security for Public Enemy during the 90s.
Really?
But these guys' story is pretty unique. Like the one guy acted in like Shaft, and like these two brothers have done a ton of stuff all through plenty of career spectrums, and I think they're just trying to get recognized by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I think is the first two African American brothers that played in the same pro team together.
So they are currently not enshrinees in the Hall of Fame. They're still trying to
get
there.
I think they're trying to like get in there.
I love titling your film that.
Yeah, The Long Road to the Hall of Fame. So I'm kind of interested because I've just seen the
Hopefully
previews.
David Baker will attend the Cannes Film Festival and say, hey.
Yeah, come on in. Come on in.
Wow.
But buy a ticket first.
Yeah. So interesting. All right, is that the one that wraps it up, or what?
No, we got.
Oh my goodness,
plenty more stuff. It doesn't stop.
I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah. So followed by that, we're going to show a film called Sink or Swim, directed by Michael Caminetti, which is a piece about cystic fibrosis. There's
yes.
a young man that grew up in Canton, Devin Broadbent. It's kind of like briefly touching on like his childhood, how he grew up, and the fact that he was diagnosed with CF, and what he's kind of done with his life, and like the risks that he takes. Like he wants to be an actor. He's getting married next year by meeting his fiance actually when he was on his travels in Mexico. Like it's a pretty neat piece. And it really kind of like dwells into some of the CF stuff, but you also have a nice personal connection with Devin as well.
Oh, nice. And Michael Caminetti, a very good filmmaker. Yes.
Following that film, we're going to show the film The Seeker, which is directed by Jeff Johnson. He'll also be here for a Q&A. Mm-hmm. He made this film set to a soundtrack for a band called Atlas Cloud, but it features Josh Radnor from How I Met Your Mother, who is a Columbus actor. He grew up in Columbus.
Oh, my goodness.
So I try to keep everything Ohio-centric.
Yeah. There's some kind of a touch with Ohio. Uh-huh.
So fingers crossed, maybe he'll invite Josh Radnor to come hang out in Canton for the weekend, but no promises. And, he'll kind of talk about how he was able to set the film to music, but it's still a narrative film. So it still tells a story, but it's not, I think it's musically driven versus like dialogue driven, but like the character.
That's interesting. But it's not a music video.
No. So that would be an interesting film to see as well, but it's shot beautifully. The trailer looks amazing. You can find all this information out on our website too, cantonfilm.com. And then to end the festival, our 8 o'clock showing is going to be a film called Amor Civil War, which really touches upon Think Media from Cleveland, followed the RNC while it was in Cleveland, and kind of got some different avenues from protesters, the people that were really a part of the RNC. So I think their story just kind of captures what occurred in Cleveland during that time, because it's definitely a historical time.
Very interesting.
Probably a little edgy, but I think worth seeing. Like it's very strong. So we'll have the director from Think Media here as well to kind of do the Q&A and wrap that up. So.
Do you, James, watch all of these films before the festival, or
I pre-screen a lot of stuff?
My goodness.
Yeah, and then some stuff I take in as much as possible, and then some I can't watch until the festival actually takes place. So I'm running around like crazy.
What do you do in your day job?
Yeah, I produce a lot of like branding films myself, or commercials. Things of that nature, or do some like marketing consulting
so
as well.
You're pretty busy.
Oh yeah.
What was it 6 years ago that made you say, what Canton needs is a really good film festival? So
really, I see the potential of Canton in the world of filmmaking, more or less. Like I feel like Stark County could be an independent filmmakers playground. There's so many great locations. Just so many things going on here. And then I kind of felt like there was a renaissance kind of happening for like downtown. And I think the missing piece was, film culture, and it's the quickest way to also business is through film. Like now you see, if you read the paper, that they're looking to shoot a series here, or
that was my very next question for you. Hollywood seems to have discovered Stark County and Northeast Ohio in general. What's your take on that they're coming here to make, major motion pictures?
Well, I feel like it really all started with the Canton Film Festival, putting those blips out there in the world. No, but actually it's the Cleveland Film Commission has done a nice job of really getting people into Cleveland, and then kind of, branching those connections down. So
we have everything here.
Everything.
Any landscape you want. You could look like you're in just about anywhere in the world.
And then every season, the biggest thing that we need is a solid soundstage.
What's the likelihood? I've heard so many people say that. What's the likelihood of something like that being built nearby?
Fingers crossed. I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
So I don't want to get too into.
But enough people are talking about it that this could happen.
Well, I think it's definitely, for the economics of the city, I think it's a great idea. I mean, it's a chance to, a lot of small cities, you have a lot of the youth that move out after college or whatnot. And I think if you could build this sort of like entertainment infrastructure especially with the way films are distributed now, or television or any of that. There's no reason why we can't do that kind of stuff here. So through the course of time, if we set things up well, we have a working, new avenue in Canton where, more people can be artists, but, being paid constantly and generating, revenue for the city.
It makes so much sense. Tell me about the filmmaking community right now. You seem to have crossed paths with so many of these people. There's a pretty vibrant community of people who this is just a passion, yes?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I just think it's because so many people want to tell a story. It's all storytelling. So, you look at and I'll just mention your son and daughter-in-law, like the most passionate people about telling their stories and putting things together and doing them well. And, she just showed at the Cleveland International Film Festival, to like the documentary work that like Michael Caminiti does. It's the fact that he cares, like Devin obviously was his friend, but he cares enough to realize that this is a story that more people should know about. So it's really like having that. It's almost like just a true desire to tell stories, like with no other motives behind them. And then that's where like the great things kind of start to come together.
Which is why we need a soundstage to bring some of these people back home again from Los Angeles. Just saying.
And the nice part about the film community mostly is everybody works pretty well together. Like, not every budget can be huge or paid or, unionized quite yet. So you'll have a lot of people that will, I'll film this for you while you do audio for me. And, there's a lot of trade-off, and so we've gotten these pockets of people working together, which is nice.
I wanted to swing back to Andrew Rudd and that Stark County project that he's been doing. Were a lot of people like telling stories about Stark County? How did that work?
So I think Andrew was trying to find a unique voice for Stark County themselves to talk about like different Cantonians or Stark Countyans or however we would say that, to kind of trickle into other parts of the culture. Because I think from the Hollywood to white, like we're getting a lot of redundant same stories. So I think he was hoping for a chance to just get a little bit of different perspective or a little bit of different edge of how everybody sees like our community and who's in it and what's actually what's going on out there. And
his safety net is certainly going to be one to see. Again, just remind us the Canton Film Festival. Where, when, how do we get tickets? The whole enchilada.
April 27th through 29th. You can get tickets online at the CantonPalaceTheater.org. We'll be selling tickets at the door. And just basically come hang out, watch. I mean, tickets are affordable. It's like $5 a block or a night. The big goal is just to, come in, hang out, meet filmmakers, network, watch some interesting movies, just kind of be a part of it.
Come for a little or come for the whole thing?
Whatever you'd like to do. We try to make it accessible, fun. Just come to see the Palace.
James Waters, thanks for what you're doing in our community.
Fantastic. Thanks, Susie.